Hello, good morning. This is just a quick video that I am doing. Now, what I'm going to show you is some samples of designs that I've had printed myself through a UK-based company called Woven Monkey. Now, before I became a full-time mum, one of the things I used to do was teach art for Lichfield College. And one of the projects that I helped my students do was to try and find ways of selling their artwork. Now, one of the ways to do this for any artist would be to obviously go online and have a look at this company called Woven Monkey. Now, they're not paying me to do this. This is not paid advertising or anything like that. But I just thought, while I've got a few minutes, I'll talk about it. Now, all of the images that you can see in front of you are my own photographs. They are not stock photos. They aren't off anybody's website. These are all photos of flowers that I have taken that were in my garden. I actually have the original unedited images. So this one was a poppy that grew in my garden. I think it was in 2001. And I just loved the shape of this to the point where I was going to use it as like a dress because I thought it'd make a really, really nice dress shape. And then obviously have some kind of image or silhouette of like a ballerina or a dancer behind it, or one of my children, and use this as like the dress in front, which I didn't end up doing in the end. What I ended up doing was using my laptop to use 3D paint to cut out the image, and then used another software program called GIMP because it was free, to then put it onto a transparent background, and then I put it onto black because I loved how it isn't actually 100% red. It's quite orange in its coloration, and I just loved the picture of this flower. When you actually saw it in real life and when you see it in the original photo, which I will try and find, it is so amazing. I mean, in some of the images I've took of the flowers in my garden, some of the petals have literally been so transparent that you can almost see like the background of my garden through them, and also the shadows and stuff. The other obviously issue I had when taking the flowers in my garden was I had to be very selective of what time of day I took the flowers, because a lot of them have got like these little black dots right in the center of the flowers, and they are literally like the bees and the beetles and the thunderbugs, as I call them, that the first thing in the morning they just literally fly onto every single flower in my garden to get the morning dew. So sometimes I would get like a little brush and I'd carefully brush the petals, but I found that because they were so fragile, I didn't want to hurt any of the animals and I didn't want any of the petals to fall off. So I just thought, you know what, forget it. This is nature, this is natural, this isn't Photoshop, this isn't edited, it's not doctored in any way. This is what my flowers look like when they're in the garden first thing in the morning. So the only thing I did with these ones was I just literally cut them out. So again, I was showing my students like ways of doing things. This one was some building bricks that my little boy had. And no, they did not look like that. I took the photos of the bricks themselves, so you can still see quite a little bit of detail on them. And then obviously I've edited this in GIMP to put the 3 bricks together to make my own sort of design. But this one is actually a photograph of a doll that I have. She is beautiful. Her name is Melody, and she has lived with me ever since I was about 10 years old. She's a wind-up mechanical doll and plays music. And one of the things that I did when I was a student myself was I just loved dolls. anything old-fashioned, anything vintage that, did something. I mean, to find something like a mechanical doll these days, nowadays it's all batteries, it's all sensors. So to have a doll with a key in her that still works, that I've had since my 10th birthday, I mean, she's absolutely beautiful. I love her to bits. And I promised myself that when I made this fabric, that one day I was going to make a dress for my niece with this fabric on. But now my niece is at the age where she still plays with dolls. So I don't think she would really want a dress with this on. And then looking at the fabric, as much as I like it, I think if I was going to make a dress, it would be great to maybe have this as like a panel or the bow, and just having like a row of dolls around the center of the dress itself, or maybe even like a little mop hat like the doll's got in the picture. But I think to have a full dress made of this fabric would probably be a little bit overpowering. Now, this one isn't my design. This is actually someone else's. This is from a company called Volts Bolts. Again, this isn't paid advertising. And what they are aiming to do is to reproduce. So this is more of a reproduction example of militaria signs and then that can then be reused and repurposed into making products. So again, this is a genuine reproduction of an MOD arrow that the military would have used. So if you go online, there will be information about this. And one of the things I would definitely say to anyone is do your research, because not everything that is online is being sold correctly under trade description. The amount of times I go on social media and you type in vintage and then you get what is called reproductions of vintage items that are mass produced abroad. Now, I'm not saying that all of this is 100% made in the UK. It's my understanding that the raw material, which is cotton, is imported from China, unfortunately. It would be great if they could use a local company to get the raw materials from, but the actual end finished products are made, manufactured and shipped within the UK. And that is why I like using this company, because it reduces my carbon footprint by using them direct. And if you go onto Woven Monkey, all the information about what they offer will be on there. And then last but not least, this is a photo. Again, I edited it. It was elderflowers. And what I did with this image was I changed the colour of what the elderflowers look like. And I then tessellated it. I think it tessellated really, really well on here. And that's the other good thing I do like about using this company. And again, this is why I recommended it to my students as a suggestion, is because you can clearly see the differentiation within the ink. Now, it hasn't always worked. I had some photos of roses that I took a few years back. And again, I did a sample print. And unfortunately, the differentiation between the colour of the roses upon the black background was no way as good quality as this. If I can find it, I will compare the two. But unfortunately, what I found was the colours were too dark. So they would have been okay on a white background, but not a dark background. So again, this is why a lot of companies like Woven Monkey, they actually don't do it. But a lot of other companies, if you do want to sell your artwork through them, they will request that you get a sample sent. Once you've then pre-approved the sample, they will then allow you to list your artwork. And I also get samples just to make sure I'm 100% happy. And I've said this to my students. Get a sample, you can put it in your work, you can keep it in your portfolio. When you go for an interview, you can take it with you. But the actual product that you're selling is online. So again, by having a social media platform which is something I did have to explain to the Department of Work and Pensions when they accused me of working. I was like, no, it's a social media platform. Under no circumstances am I actually working. It is just an example of my artwork. So when I am able to go back to work, even if it's only on a part-time basis, my work is accessible, it is viewable, and my Google ratings will be high. But I'm not going to get rich from selling fabric, unfortunately. The commission rate, if you are lucky enough to sell through Woven Monkey, which I believe some of my students have done in the past, is for every fabric that sells, for every metre of fabric that sells, you get £5 commission. So, if, for example, you're having to earn 30,000 a year, you'd have to sell a lot of commission in order to live happily and comfortably. So again, it's more of a hobby. It's something fun. It's something I enjoy. It's something I've encouraged my children to do. So all my artwork is readily available online, but it's not all for sale. And the reason is because I know I'd not make enough money doing it. And as a full-time carer for a disabled child, again, it's something I've encouraged my son to get into, to then hopefully help him to build up his own portfolio. So when he's older, potentially he might be able to use it as a way of generating some form of income. But the market out there is so competitive, and some of the work that people have produced on there is 400, if not 1,000 times better quality than mine. So like I said, I did these as an example for my students to show them what to do, how long it takes to do things, what it offers. So if anyone is interested in doing a project like this, then I would definitely say look at Woven Monkey. But again, you're not really going to be doing it as a career. Again, you can definitely see the two differentiation colours within the two poppies. And like I said, if I have to be biased about my work, I would say this was my strongest photo. So have a look, and hopefully, again, this isn't mine. This is a Chinook Helicopters. This, again, is Voltspolt's. They have always used me in order to upload their work for them. And then if they were to get a sale, the money would go directly to them. It has nothing to do with me whatsoever. So again, that could be a way if a group of artists, for example, were trying to make some money as an option. And again, this is what I suggested to my students to help them pay like student loans, or, to support them while they're at university. Again, it's great for crediting, because a lot of colleges and universities will say to you, okay, what are you going to do when you leave? How are you going to then take your art work and make it into something that's going to make a living for you? So, like I said, I really enjoyed advising my students and saying, have a look at online platforms like Woven Monkey. They're a UK-based company. They're in Derbyshire. You can even, if I remember right, before COVID, maybe not now, arrange a viewing of the factories. So take a look online, and I would appreciate any feedback. And any feedback or constructive criticism, to a degree, as not everybody likes constructive criticism, especially when it can be insulting. Please feel free to give me your feedback, and I'll take it on board. And once again, these are not... Sorry, this video is not a paid promotional video. Thank you.